Hey guys, welcome back. It is week 1 in the month of patience, also known as June. So can you believe it? We are halfway through the year already. This is very exciting. And so we are starting a new character trait this month, and that will be patience. And if you have been following along in this series very regularly at all, you'll know that in week 1, we always start off with definitions because I love figuring out where we are and where we're going to go. So patience doesn't seem like we have to define that because it seems like a no-brainer. Patience usually is delayed gratification. But we're going to take it a step further with that because patience, as we're talking about all of these character traits, it's much more than simply delaying something that we want. It's a lot deeper than that as a character trait. So in the dictionary, patience is defined as the ability to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. And so I agree with this for the most part. As you know, a lot of times I don't agree with the dictionary definition and we kind of make one up to suit our purposes here for character. But for the most part, this is talking about delayed gratification, and I do agree with that. This part is what I'm not, what we're going to take out and we're going to change this month. This suffering without getting angry or upset, because there is a healthy anger that is okay. We can be angry at rape, we can be angry at genocide or at any type of abuse or drunk driving or whatever. We can be angry at those things, and that is a healthy kind of anger because it motivates us to make change. It motivates us to want to be a part of the solution rather than a part of the problem or sit on the sidelines. So there is a place for anger. We don't always know how to handle it or what to do with it, but anger does have a place. It's not a bad thing in and of itself. So I'm going to take this out of our definition and I'm going to change it to patience would be the ability to accept suffering without exhibiting unhealthy emotions such as rage, condemnation, shame, or judgment. That's where we get into trouble when we start experiencing rage and shame and condemnation, because what we're doing is we're spewing onto another person all kinds of like hate and evil and just, a lot of negative emotions. So I am going to change the definition to that. But for the most part, I agree with the rest of it. Patience is also not passive. So patience is not standing still. It is not erasing our personal boundary lines or being used as a doormat. It's not accepting things the way that they are, to say, well, this is just the way I am, or that's just that person. They're not going to change. I'm not going to change. That's the way it's been at our company or our place of work. And so I just have to be patient, right? Patience is not passive. It's not allowing this unchecked dysfunctional behavior, and it's not accepting things just because that's the way that it is. That's a whole nother thing entirely, probably a lot of codependence or just passive aggressive behavior, but that's not patience. So patience as a character trait is active waiting, which kind of sounds like an oxymoron, because how do you actively wait? So we're going to talk about that. Waiting is what we normally think of waiting in a line, standing in line, and so you're just standing there not doing anything, and we just kind of shuffle along until it's our turn. But if we're actively waiting, what that suggests is that we have something to do. It means that we are going to participate in whatever it is that's going on, and we're going to call that patience, and we're going to be a part of the solution in moving whatever it is forward that we're doing. So I'll give you an example. Say we're trying to learn how to ride a bike, or if we are learning how to speak a foreign language. So at the beginning, we're pedaling, or we are listening to the foreign language podcast and they're giving us vocabulary and definitions and using the words in a sentence. And in that sense, we are actively progressing. We are actively practicing the skill or the trade that we want to accomplish. But we are waiting for ourselves to be an expert in that skill or that trade or whatever it is that we want to accomplish. And so in that respect, we have to be patient with ourselves. And this is where you'll hear people say, we'll talk about failing forward. Like failure isn't the end of the road. Failure is just something that, okay, that's I learned how not to do it. Now let me keep moving and learn how to do it. And in that sense, that is that active waiting, that patience that comes along when we have to allow ourselves to make mistakes as we're moving forward. Certainly, if you've been watching these videos, you are an active participant in patience, because I am not good at this yet. And so not only do I have to be patient with myself and allow myself to make mistakes in front of you and to allow myself to be open to critique, but you also have to be patient with me, as I'm sure you have been saying, Tara, get to the point, you're using too many words, what's an example, I don't know what you're saying. Whatever it is that you comment back to me as you're watching, it requires you to be patient while I practice, while I learn to do these videos, while I learn to do it better. And hopefully someday I will be much better and will be able to say that I'm not an expert, but at least far along in this process. So it requires patience. It's that one step at a time that we are actively pursuing, but then we are waiting for the final outcome, or we're waiting for the fruit to appear, or we're waiting for that skill to be learned, that trade to be accomplished. This is what it's talking about, or what it's referring to when we have this verse in the Bible that says, "My brethren, count it all joy." And this is not the happy, like, woo, yay, I'm in a trial. It's not that kind. They're talking about opportunity, not emotion. So count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its full maturity, that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. So there's that opposite character trait again. There's that putting yourself in an opposite situation and wanting the result to be, you put yourself in fear, you want the result to be courage. You put yourself in a trial, you want to have patience. You're going to test your faith, because faith isn't faith unless it's being tested, right? So this again is talking about this opposite, putting yourself in an opposite to produce that character trait, and knowing that when we put ourselves into these trials, that it's going to produce patience. We're going to be patient with ourselves. We're going to be patient with each other. That's what we're going to be talking about for the next 3 weeks. So next week, we're going to talk about patience with the struggle and why community is a non-negotiable, because we can't be patient without people. There's just no other way around it. In week 3, we're going to talk about patience with endings, the necessary pain to stop all that baggage and self-imposed chaos, or a relationship or a job, or whatever it is. And then in week 4, we're going to talk about patience with beginnings, the necessary pain for healthy growth. And that all happens in community. It all happens with each other. It happens in every relationship that we're in. So if you want to follow along with me in the journal, you can go over to Amazon and get the journal that I published, Write Your Life with Grace. This is available, like I said, on Amazon. You can follow along in here and write down your answers. There's other questions, there's other verses, other neat stuff in here. And then while you're there, you can pick up a copy of No Arms, No Legs, No Problem, the first book that I published. Lots of patience in this book, lots of good character in here, and that is on Amazon as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I love to hear from you, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much.